Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan. And with us kind of being in the dry part of the offseason, the draft is
So
pretty far
dry.
behind us, but now we've still got a couple more months until training camp and preseason games get underway. We have an opportunity to do a lot of different types of videos. So we decided today to talk about some
That's right.
quarterbacks who we think are going to improve in 2021. Could be younger guys, could be some veterans.
Right.
You'll probably hear a mix of both. So it's really just going to be an open conversation of guys at the table here, bringing up signal callers that we think will improve in 2021. We'll talk about why, how much we think they'll improve. Again, could be a young guy taking a leap into his second year or a veteran that maybe gets a second wind in his career. So again, this is going to be a fun little discussion about some of our
No longer than
quarterbacks
2
that we're
and
high on. Yeah, it should not be too long, Jordan, but we're gonna have a fun time with it and just have a good conversation as we are in the middle of the NFL offseason.
Yeah, here we are right now in the middle of the NFL offseason. Not much to talk about, as Ryan said. So we came up with this idea to talk about it. So let's get talking about some quarterbacks. Jordan, I know you have one ready, but I have one myself.
I have two ready, actually.
I want to talk about Joe Burrow to start off with. I feel like this one's an obvious one going into his second year and coming off of an injury. After what we saw from him at LSU before he came into the NFL, we know the talent level that he has had. And I think we're going to see that with the Bengals. He's got some more help there now thanks to the draft and free agency as well. So I think there's going to be more support around him in general. He's going to take advantage of that, get the ball to his fella Jamar Chase, and they're going to have a great connection and improve on what he'll be able to do in the NFL. Even with the injury, I still think he'll be okay. What do you guys think?
Well, I just hope he's able to stay healthy again. Number one, after the ACL tear, not very good, and they didn't improve the offensive line with that first round pick. So, I mean, they got Jamar Chase, though, so it's going to be fun, but, we'll see how it all plays itself out. Let's see how it plays out here. But, anyways, with Joe Burrow, great quarterback. We all know it. That's why he went number one overall, and there really was no question about it. So, it'll be good to see him back healthy in the field with a new weapon in Jamar Chase. Lost some guys, but also gained people like we said, Jamar Chase. Bengals, look out for them. They're in a tough division, so it might be hard to make some sparks fly. But don't be surprised if you see a couple red flames starting.
Yeah, I like what you guys have
Always
said.
sport.
I think that with Burrow coming back, it should be fun to watch from the injury. Their offensive line, it did get better, probably not. It's probably not as improved as it should have been. I think, Jamar Chase, it was the fun pick, but I don't think it was the right pick. However, with that being said, I do think that there is going to be a lot of positives. I think the connection that they had at LSU will be reignited at the NFL level. That's ultimately why they got him. Again, the wrong decision in my opinion, but still a lot to be taken positively from that pick as well. I think that when you look at the receivers that they already had there as well, like guys like Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, I think that there is already a nice foundation there in that receiver room. So, yeah, to see Burrow for a full season healthy with an improved receiving core, I'm excited. I still am concerned about that offensive line. However, we've seen great quarterbacks kind of work around, not so great offensive lines before. Guys like Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson have really been able to do great things with subpar offensive lines. So Burrow might have to do the same thing. The offensive line is better, but not yet where it needs to be, in my opinion. But with that being said, I still think Burrow is set to improve in 2021.
Yeah, now Joe Burrow, somebody that a lot of people thought would be the offensive rookie of the year going into last season. Let's take a look at the Roy. And I mean, this video is probably be something with like who's going to be better. I don't know what the title is. Maybe Tyler does, but I mean, there's really not much. I mean, there is stuff that Justin Herbert can do better, but he had such a great season last year. If he's able to even keep on par with what he did last year, it'd be a good season, maybe even a great season. But I'm sure Herbert is looking for better, and really, I think everyone is almost expecting better because his team around him has gotten better, and he's had a whole year, almost a full year, I should say, in the NFL of experience to really add on to his game. And with Justin Herbert last year, started 15 games, missed that first game, and came into that second game against the Chiefs without really even knowing it was his start until like 15 seconds before the game, but he was ready to go. That was a fun one to watch, and ever since then, he kind of just took off. There was that game against the Saints on Monday night, I think, and I really just getting to see him play was a fun thing. Justin Herbert very deservingly won the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. This is one of my favorite players, not just last year's draft class, but really I think he might just be one of my favorite players in the NFL right now. Not my favorite player, but he's certainly towards the top of that list. And yes, part of that is because I had him in fantasy football last year. I'll try to get him again as the next year rolls around, too. I'm already thinking about that because, that's always on my mind when we have, I think, 99 days till the season?
Was today 100 or was that yesterday?
I don't know. something
was
around
right.
that number. But with Justin Herbert, there's really not much else to say besides the fact that we know what he did last year. We know how good he is. And, well, we talked about Joe Burrow and how they didn't get him offensive lineman. Well, with the Los Angeles Chargers, they did get him Rashawn Slater, who fell drastically right into their, always with the Chargers. I get to the analogy part, fall into their something, and I forget what I'm going to say.
Sparks?
Plugs? Right into their outlets is what we usually say, but that sounds so dumb. But, I mean, most of the stuff I say is dumb anyways, so actually...
most of the stuff is dumb.
I mean, at least it's definitely not... I mean, I think we could all agree that it's not falling to their sparks. That makes no sense. Falling to their outlet makes a lot more sense.
Stuff like this is
anyways,
why our videos are 30 minutes long.
Rashawn Slater fell off a cliff to
Kingsbury?
No, not Kingsbury.
Stuff like this is why our videos 30 minutes long.
But, well, I'm just trying to make it longer here just because, I don't know how long this video is going to go. Anyways, though, Rashawn Slater fell to him, got an offensive lineman, a good one, by the way, somebody that a lot of people thought was the number one in this draft class.
Quarterbacks, not
and
Rashawn
so,
Slater.
what we talking about the weapons before with Joe Burrow. So why don't you let me do what I want to do over here and shut your yapper, boy? I don't think there's anything in that cup. Really? There's nothing in there.
Wait. Oh, that's awkward.
There's not even water here. Where did you get that from?
I brought it down.
He never has anything in there.
Yes, I actually spilled it on the ground just to prove a point.
Anyways, Rashawn Slater's there. Justin Herbert's still there. Weapons are there. And he might just get better. And if he does, watch out Patrick Mahomes and Derek Carr and whoever the heck the Broncos quarterback's going to be.
I would say most of that you are right on point with, but I'm not saying I think this is going to happen, but you got to watch out for what happened with Baker Mayfield 2 years ago in his sophomore season.
It's a much different comparison than Baker Mayfield.
I'm just saying you got to be ready for that type of stuff to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
Possibility is not even in my mind.
But with both of those guys, there's
immense talent there.
But there can be a year where it just doesn't quite work out. I don't think it's going to happen with Justin Herbert, but it's similar to what we...
It's not going to.
With Baker Mayfield, I think this is something that we could apply to every single player we talk about in this video.
I'm not applying it to...
Yeah, no, I think it's a fair point. I don't think it's going to happen either. I think he's going to do great with the improvements on the offensive line, but also with
he'll be better this year.
Yeah, I think he'll be better, and that's main focus of this video, improvements. Yeah, I'm on board with the Justin Herbert hype. I was high on him coming out of the draft. He was my number 2 quarterback. That was a fairly unpopular belief at the time. But, yeah, I just think that all the physical tools are there. He's shown to be very ready for the NFL level as soon as he stepped onto the field. Like Jordan mentioned, he didn't really have much notice before his first start against the Kansas City Chiefs, no less. He helped the Chargers play them very tough. They took him to overtime that game, ultimately lost, but that's not really the point. Yeah, I expect Herbert to be better in 2021. I think that he's just in a great situation, and when you have a great player in a great situation, good things are bound to happen. So... I'm kind of, in the consensus here as well. I agree. Herbert looking good for 2021 and beyond. I think he's going to be great for a while.
Mm-hmm. We keep throwing out names.
Well, I mean, this Justin here, we're going to stick with Justin, not Herbert, though. This could be awkward based off whatever the heck. I just still don't know what this video is called. But
players are going to improve next year. So if you're talking about Justin Fields, it's probably not a good idea.
Well, too bad, because I'm going to talk about him anyways. Justin Fields can improve from college, because that's a thing. Really? Anyways, he can improve from college. And there was some improving to do. Last season was not, it was a great season to start, and then it got a bit rocky, and people thought his stock was going to fall. They didn't like him as much. So who knows what we're going to see from Justin Fields. I do. It's going to be great. Bears fan, if you can't tell, and by the way, there's fear in my eyes as I'm saying that, but there's fear in my eyes as I'm saying that. That made no sense. Improving, Justin Fields. Last year, he had 8 games played with 2,100 yards in the air, 22 TDs, and with 6 picks. This was in 8 games, and let's just go to the picks to start because we're talking about improving. 6 picks in 8 games, not very good, but do remember, though, early on in the season, he had no interceptions. He was playing fantastic, and then there was just a stretch where he was a turnover machine for a bit. But anyways, and then going back to the season before that, the 2019 season, he played 14 games. He only had 3 picks. So definitely a drop-off in the interception ratio there. I just think that was a blend of playing easy teams to start and also having a weird season. And also just, I think it was not completely settled in yet. And so that could be a part of it. Also with the yards, I did the math earlier. It's basically he has 2,100 yards this year. He had 3,200. He had almost 3,300 yards the year before, and so basically he had about the same through 8 games as he probably would have before. So that regard, he's staying pretty consistent. It's just the turnovers and with the touchdowns is also pretty similar on that ratio too. So we just got to work on that the interception thing, and as you can tell, I really know what I want to talk about right now. I just want to talk about Justin Fields, and so go Bears.
That's fair enough.
Okay.
We'll just get to some other names. I know there's a lot of other ones that I want to throw out there, so I'm going to do that really quickly, and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
If you have any other ones to throw out there.
Prescott.
I'm just going to throw out some names, and then I'll go into more specifically. Dak Prescott, I think, is another one, too. I was going to say that, but coming off the injury. Kyler Murray is definitely one that we should be able to see. He's got those new weapons around him now. So
Daniel
we'll see
Jones.
how that goes with him. Matthew Stafford, Jordan mentioned, now going to the Rams. I think we're going to see a lot better things from him. How about Derek Carr?
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz, one I'm going to hit on even more specifically in a second.
Derek Carr.
But Derek Carr, to me, is someone that a lot of people aren't talking about. He hasn't thrown a lot of interceptions. He's very consistent in that regard. So I think there's a lot to like from him. You just got to get the offense around him. Let's not forget, he has Alex Leatherwood blocking for him now. First round pick. So, I mean, let's be careful. And then Carson Wentz, I think, is a player we're going to see show the most improvement that is not already played a year in the NFL, or under 3 years in the NFL, I should say. I think with the Colts, we're going to see a vast improvement from last year with the Eagles. So mark my words, Carson Wentz will be talked about as a top 10 quarterback by the end of next year.
Yeah, I don't know about top 10.
Just sorry, go ahead. Real quick. I want to throw one more name out there. Davis Mills.
Oh, yes. Appreciate that. I mean, we can talk about Davis Mills in a second, but I do want to say for Carson Wentz, I don't know about top 10. I think he can maybe get there, but Carson Wentz is going to improve tremendously.
I'm making a bold statement.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think top 15 for sure. Top 10. I mean, he's going to be surrounded by a lot of talent, a great coaching staff, a great situation, and just, sometimes a change of scenery is just what guys need. I think Carson Wentz, I was critical of him in Philadelphia. I still think that, there's going to be work to do for Wentz, but I think he's going to get better as the season goes on. I don't think he's going to be an MVP contender, but I always say this when this comes up. He just has to do the job, use the guys around him. Life's going to be so much better for him. He's just, in a great situation with the coaching, with the offensive line blocking for him, and actually playing for a good team that actually is, kind of complete and knows what direction they're headed. He's on an instant Super Bowl contender in the Indianapolis Colts. So I don't know about top 10, maybe. I'm not ruling it out. But Carson Wentz will tremendously
improve. It could even be higher. I mean, I could go like top 7 if I wanted to.
It all kind of depends. I mean, the Colts, like they're really good, but they don't have like a true elite number one receiver. They don't have a Julio, they don't have a Devontae Adams, they don't have a Julio yet. That would be something. Then I like for sure agree with you. If they had something like that, like a Julio or a Devontae or a D-Hop, then maybe I'd say top 10. But, I mean, they've still got a nice group of guys, but it's more like a bunch of solid number 2 receivers right now, which is fine. It's not going to stop them from winning. It's just, how high is Carson Wentz's ceiling? Sometimes it's just depending on the guys around him. But, don't get me wrong. The point is Carson Wentz is going to improve tremendously in Indianapolis, and he's going to do a lot better than he did last year.
Well, here's my point on Carson Wentz, and actually have this more drawn out than what I was just randomly talking about with Justin Fields here. This is kind of my take on it, and this is probably something that many people wouldn't agree with, but, and I know, just hear me out here. I don't think that Carson Wentz played like a completely different player last year. I think he played kind of like what we saw with Carson Wentz before. Now, you might be thinking, Jordan, you're a loser. What the heck are you saying? You're stupid. I can't believe you graduated high school. And you know what? You're right. But I still keep talking here, and that's because with Carson Wentz, and I don't live in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia, I've never been there before. Probably a great city. What a neat town, probably. But anyways, I'm not in Eagles news or anything, but I do watch actually the Eagles YouTube channel a lot because they have good content. But that's besides the point. Anyways, so
It doesn't seem like you know where.
no, I do know where I'm going with this. And so a lot of time with Eagles media throughout last year, they talked about the hero ball. You heard it all around the NFL, really, but it started with the Eagles media all in Philadelphia there. And it was just Carson Wentz throwing that hero ball and trying to be just the hero of that team, a team that honestly had nothing defensively and not much offensively either. And so they were just not a really built team, not a very good team. The fact that they had the trade, but the fact that they were not like the first overall pick at one point, kind of shocks me. But they started a little bit better and then just got really sloppy at the end. Still, I don't think their roster is built very well right now, but that's not for this video. I think Carson Wentz was just kind of like a lone guy trying to do everything he can, and it looked bad because he was trying to force things that just could not be forced with the weapons he had around him. I'm not a big fan of the Eagles team right now. I don't hate the Eagles, but I just don't like the personnel that they've been building. They're trying, so we'll see how it goes. But I think now with a different team, Carson Wentz can be kind of the player that he was last year, just not be as hero-y as he was last year, as a heroine, as you could say he was trying to be last year, and just be the player that he was still at his core last year. Because that person, I believe, was always still in Carson Wentz. There was just this panic mode that had to come out with that Eagles team they had last year. And so now, as Brandon is evolving a Pokemon over there, Carson Wentz can hopefully evolve back to that player that I think he still kind of was, but really wasn't showing last year with the Eagles. I like Carson Wentz. I hope the best for him. And AO1 Foundation, I don't know what it's for, but I know it's a good cause. Also, he likes hunting and he has a cute dog. Perks of following him on Instagram.
After Jordan's rant, is there anything else? Any quarterbacks we'd like to just throw the names out there because it's time to wrap this video up. So if you want to throw any names, feel free.
Drew Lock. I think he'll improve for sure.
Drew Lock.
We have Drew Lock.
Just throwing out names.
Let's do this here. Mac Jones.
Okay, let's wrap it up there. So those are just some quarterbacks. There's some guys we didn't talk about.
Tua.
That will improve.
That is a good one.
Tua is what I wanted to mention earlier, but I actually forgot about it.
Yeah.
He needs to see an improvement because he's been getting a lot of backlash.
Yeah. A lot of it is
Tua.
undeserved. He was really
Tagovailoa.
overrated. Yeah. And you mentioned Mac Jones, but I feel like Mac Jones are just some areas where he cannot improve. But,
Well, yeah.
That is true.
I think
he's peaked in some areas.
Yeah, but some he's not.
Decision
So
making,
vision,
Vision.
knows something good when he sees it. He
Execution.
sees something good, like it, the Devontae Smith, like being wide open, or Jalen, like that's what I'm talking about here.
Obviously.
Yeah, when he sees that.
Hey, Brandon, what are you singing over there?
Juice WRLD.
Okay, let's wrap this video up now.
I don't know if
Thank
you're
guys
going to
for
hear him, but
watching
he
this
said
video.
Juice WRLD.
Make sure to like the
I'm
video,
not a rap
subscribe
fan
to our
myself,
channel.
but okay.
Hit the notification bell. Go comment down below who you think's going to improve
I'm a
next
country
year. We'd
fan,
have
I've
to
said
have
that
some
before.
conversation down below in the comments, so go do that as well. Go check out our podcast, which Brandon is on, who Jordan's been talking to this whole video, and our Instagram.
What'd you evolve?
I don't know.
You don't
And,
know what it
yeah.
was?
Let's do that as they finish up their conversation.
Was it a Pidgey?
No, it was a hound. It was
It was
a
a
Houndor?
Houndor, I think.
Houndor.
Yeah.
Did you get a Houndoom?
Yes.
Nice.
Okay. So that's the video, guys. Thank you
Caleb
for
Doom.
watching. With that, we will see you guys later.
See ya.